Godzilla x Kong is going to be out later this month, and there is a specific creature in there with freezing capabilities. Did that creature freeze Ghidorah? And if she did freeze Ghidorah, I'm talking about Shimo, why did she do it? This video by Marvelous Wave
the true nature of the
should show us.
War and what we believe
Let's
the
see.
dark truth of the conflict actually
Let me know if
entailed.
you think
In the
Shimo
distant
froze
past,
Ghidorah.
The Great
Let me know in the
Titan War
comments.
led to the eradication of most of the Titans and sent the
The
remaining
Great Titan
survivors into hiding. And while we've seen references to this great conflict before, we don't actually know the full story.
We
So
don't.
Today, fellow heralds of the Titans, let's discuss what we believe happened
Fellow
throughout the course of the
heralds?
Titan War,
I like that.
including the roles that Shimo, Ghidorah, and Godzilla would have played, and all the evidence that Shimo is the one responsible for encasing Ghidorah.
That's what they
in
say.
ice, aiding
What do you
Godzilla
think?
in the fight against the false king.
And if you
but
don't know what I'm
eventually
talking
turning
about,
into
you should.
enemies. To
The
begin, though, let's
2019
discuss
movie,
what we
King of
know
the
to be
Monsters.
True, and then we'll
When
dive into
Ghidorah was
theory.
frozen?
We know that the two main parties were the Titans,
Might have been Shimo.
Ghidorah and the Kong, and that this rivalry cuts
Did he
deep
say
into
the Kong?
distant past. As of now, we don't know why exactly the
It's just
conflict
Kong, big
erupted,
fella.
but legend tells of one particular evil Gojira that tried to invade the Hollow Earth in the domain of the Kongs. The story comes
The
from Gia's
Kongs.
tribe, also known as the Iwa, who tell of a creature that once lived in harmony with the Kong until he ate a star and
Why is
turned
he saying the
evil.
Kong?
Or so.
I've never
that
heard
is how
anybody
the
say that.
story would go. Nonetheless, though, this unified the Kong and
Shout
the
out to him,
Gojira
though.
together for the first time ever against an unknown enemy.
Yeah, it's just
According to
Kong. That's
legend,
his name,
the
man.
Gojira and the Kong banded together to defeat
I
this
can't get
common
over that. He
threat,
keeps saying the
but in
Kong.
the process, the Kong learned that the dorsal plates of the Gojira
can't,
could be
bro, I
used to
can't.
harness the Hollow Earth radiation for their own purposes. After this discovery was made, the Kongs wanted to use the dorsal
The
plates of the
Kongs.
Gojira in order to enhance their armaments and prepare for another attack.
The Kong
But the
species, you know,
Gojira were
that'd be alright.
adamantly against this. Since the Kong did eventually develop weaponry from the scales of the Gojira, it seems that one of
The
the Kongs stole
Gojira?
a dorsal plate, potentially even killing a Gojira in the process in order to get the plates. After this,
I don't know.
the
I'm
war
listening, though.
erupted.
I'm listening
But
to
what
him.
if the monster
I'm
that
hearing him out.
unified them together in the first place wasn't a Gojira at all? When we first meet the frozen body of the allegedly dead King Ghidorah, he is in Antarctica.
Yeah, big fella was
far
not
from an
dead
entry
at all.
Point to the Hollow Earth.
He was just
Mark Russell even points
waiting.
out the curiosity and wonders how Ghidorah ended up so close to an access point to the Hollow Earth, and whether it was
True.
just a coincidence or if Ghidorah had wanted something within the Hollow Earth.
He
This
was trying to
spawned the theory
terraform
that
the
it was
Earth.
actually
Shimo said, "Wait a
Ghidorah
minute."
who first attacked the Titans
Not happening.
Kong and not a Gojira. And we have some evidence to suggest that it would in fact be in Ghidorah's nature to do this. In the King of the Monsters,
King Ghidorah looks
is
so
referred to
sick
as an invasive species.
in King of the
And
Monsters.
he throws the balance of the power into question with his arrival, seeing as Ghidorah is not from the planet and is in fact extraterrestrial. Many have theorized
It
thanks
is a
to
big
the
dragon
original
alien.
Godzilla lore that Ghidorah is from Venus.
The
and his
Ghidorah.
arrival
Why is he
ruined the
putting a Z
ecosystem of
in
Earth
front of
and
everything?
the balance of leadership among the Titans.
I
which had
respect
to
it,
be immediately
but you don't have to.
addressed by the Alphas. Ghidorah did not fit into the established
There you go,
order
just
and was
Ghidorah.
something of a virus that could not be allowed to remain, as he threatened to terraform the Earth to his liking and kill the rest of the Titans.
That
This
picture
first
goes hard.
spawned this initial rivalry with Godzilla all those years ago between him and Ghidorah, and we know that Godzilla was ultimately able to reign supreme. But it seems that he had more help than we initially thought. But not
Yes,
just
he
from
did.
the Kong, but other Titans as well.
The
In
Kong is
mural,
crazy,
we know that
bro.
The fight included not just Godzilla, but Mothra and Rodan as well.
Wait, why did
And
I not
Mothra
see
even
this?
showed up
What was
to
this
help
from?
Godzilla again in the present day in King of the Monsters. We do know, however,
Oh, this
that
is from
Ghidorah
King of the
has
Monsters.
a very strong healing factor.
I don't
And
remember
aside
this-
from
these
being
pictures.
literally ripped apart, he can recover from the most gruesome of injuries extremely quickly.
That's facts.
Since Ghidorah's body was intact in the ice, however, we are left to wonder how he was kept unconscious for so long, millions of years, to the point where he would freeze over. Or the other option is what we believe. That is, that he was frozen over by a titan.
By Shimo.
very
That's what I
quickly.
believe. I
Right
believe
now
that
we
it did
know
happen
of
like
one
that.
monster
If you
who can
believe
freeze
something
creatures
different,
of
let me
his
know in the
size,
comments too.
And we've only seen glimpses of her in the new Empire.
It just kinda
trailers.
makes sense.
We are, of course, talking about Godzilla's old rival as well, Shimo, who was one of the
Plus,
only
she's
monsters
huge.
we know of
About the
who
same
could pull
size
this
as
off.
Ghidorah.
It's even been reported that
From what we
Shimo
know.
was responsible for the first Ice Age, and this is the catalyst for her rivalry with Godzilla.
The first
Since
Ice
Godzilla
Age.
is the protector
Crazy.
of nature and king of the Titans, it makes perfect sense that in the new empire, Godzilla would want to prevent another
Look at the
Ice Age.
size
And
difference
if he
there.
saw
I know
this
it's a
power in
picture, but
action
like,
once before,
dang.
we believe that he and Shimo were on the same size, and therefore, we believe the timeline of events in the Titan War went something like this. We begin with the Titans living in relative harmony with one another. The Kong are the kings of the Hollow Earth and the
Kong.
protectors of humanity. Gojira, Mothra, Rodan, and several other minor Titans
There you go.
occupy the surface, and all is generally well with
that
the
makes
world.
sense.
The power dynamic is in balance, and barring a few minor conflicts,
So where does
nothing
Shimo come into
monumental
play then?
upsets the balance of Titan power. This is, of course, until King Ghidorah arrives from a land among the stars,
Yep.
and he immediately seeks to make a home for himself on Earth, even if it means eradicating the current ecosystem.
Pretty much trying to claim the
Ghidorah
entire
wants
Earth.
to completely usurp control from the Titans.
He's doing the
leading
most
to
there.
a direct conflict with the Gojira, primarily Godzilla himself. When he makes his way to Antarctica, he wants to invade the Hollow Earth, and this calls for the Kong and the Gojira to
The Kong.
unite against a
Crazy.
common foe. With the help of Mothra and Rodan, they are able to subdue Ghidorah long enough for Shimo to freeze him over.
So they
trapping
work
him in
together?
place, and keep him entombed in a prison of ice for what could be millions of years.
I mean, I
But we
guess it would
believe the
make
conflict
sense,
would not
but,
end
like,
here, as each of
why
these
would they be
Titans
fighting?
would soon learn something
Maybe because
new about
Scar
the other.
King's got her under
Not
control?
Only does Godzilla see the true nature of
I don't
Shimo's
know, man.
power
I don't
and
know.
her ability to lay waste
I
to
can't
the
wait to see this
entire
movie.
environment, but the Kong see a way to finally
It's gonna
topple the
explain
king
so
of the
much.
monsters from his throne. Now, the Kong set their sights on these dorsal plates, trying to find a way to get their hands on just one, as they've now seen the power in combat. If they can harness these tools, then they might finally have
Evolved
the abilities
Godzilla, so
necessary
sick.
to rise to the top where the Gojira have reigned for so long. While Godzilla is preoccupied with his building conflict with Shimo, a member of the Kong kills one of the Gojira in order to create the first of these energized axes. Right now, we don't know how
Interesting
Godzilla's
theory.
conflict with Shimo ended, but if she
I
was
don't know if
truly
I believe
responsible
that.
for the first Ice Age, then it might be possible that they are still
Great
not on
drawing.
the best of terms. Since Shimo is still alive, it's possible that she was driven into hiding by Godzilla, and
Okay.
has been hibernating and charging with the power of the Hollow Earth for all this time. The war with the Kongs, however,
That could make
would have
sense there.
erupted in full force at this point. And slowly, the Kongs have been able to rise through the ranks in order to upset the balance of power.
I just don't really
In
know
a
where Scar
previous
King
video,
plays into
we
that
talked
either.
about how the Kong's greatest
'Cause Scar
asset
King
was their
kinda
ability
has her under
to adapt
control.
to a new environment
I
and
think.
their intelligence, whereas the Gojira became stagnant at the top and reigning
I guess
over
when he
the
says
food
the
chain,
Gojira,
we
he's talking
believe
about a
this is
group
where
of them.
Gojira began to die out. Eventually, this war would claim the lives of almost all of the Gojira Titana species.
Okay, yes,
Eventually
basic.
leaving one lone survivor in Godzilla. This, in conjunction with the Mutos attacking the Gojira species and impregnating them in order to have their children birthed in the place of high radiation.
What a
leaving behind
theory, bro.
Godzilla
This
as
is
the
well
sole
thought out,
king of the
actually.
monsters. The victors returned to the Hollow Earth after this war in the Kongs, led by the ancestors of the Scar King and his current tribe.
There
while
he is,
some of
that's
the
how he
Kongs
plays it.
were spread around the world. One such outpost would be found on Skull Island, where Kong's parents would eventually have Kong and later would be killed by the Skull Crawlers. And it's possible
Rest in
that this
peace.
could all be traced back to none other than King Ghidorah, and this being the spark that caused the Titan War to break out.
actually
in the
not a
first
bad
place,
theory at all.
With Shimo eventually
I actually
freezing
agree with a lot of
Ghidorah
this.
over, but in the process, starting a massive war. But anyway,
Which
my
continues.
friends, what do you think of our theory? Do you think the true nature of the Titan War is actually much more complicated than we have been led to believe? Was it Ghidorah
Definitely
who
complicated.
started the conflict in the first place as an invasive species? And what do you think united the Titans to face him? Was Shimo the one to freeze Ghidorah over? And did this result in the conflict between Shimo and Godzilla?
Honestly, I mean, that's not a bad theory. I do think in the end that Shimo somehow ended up freezing Ghidorah. I mean, it would just make sense rather than Ghidorah just randomly freezing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching with me. I love ya. Goodbye.